Pro Football Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson. How you doing, Eric?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. When you went to SMU, did Ron Meyer recruit you there, or how did you end up there?
Oh, yeah, he recruited me. He came to my hometown of Sealy several times, came to watch us play. When I played the state championship game, he was there. So, yeah, that's how I ended up going there because, he recruited me so heavily.
And you had a great backfield with yourself, and you also had Craig James there. Did you ever pass the ball with that team?
We were not a passing football team, really. We were mostly a running football team. I think a lot of people looked at the Pony Express and, thought that was the main part of our team. But we had such great defenses. I mean, we really did. We had great guys on defense. And I always say that our defense was so underrated, and they were so good just because of, the notoriety that the Pony Express, had back in those days.
How good of a coach was Ron Meyer with SMU?
Oh, he was a very good coach. I think Ron was maybe even a better recruiter than he was a coach. I mean, he knew how to get the talent. I mean, there was no doubt. If Ron recruited you, pretty much, he could sell your mom, your grandmother, and the whole family, and you were going most definitely. If you didn't think about SMU, I mean, before when he came to visit you, they were at the top of the list for sure after you left your house.
When you were at SMU, basically, were you blocking it all for Craig James, or was Craig basically the main blocker and just basically opened the holes for you?
No, we didn't. We weren't in the backfield that often together at all. Matter of fact, because we ran the I set and we would alternate. My fullback was Charles Drayton, and his was Mark Kreitz, so sometimes they'd switch him out. So really, we alternated. He'd take a series, and I'd take a series. He'd run your series, and if your series scored a touchdown, you'd stand that whole time. And that's kind of how we did it. And if it was 4 downs and out, then that was it. And it worked for us.
Who came up with the name Pony Express?
I think Russ Potts came up with that name. He was the AD, and he came up with the name the Pony Express. When we got there, it was called Mustang Mania, and all of a sudden they switched it up and started calling it the Pony Express.
When you got drafted by the Rams, and John Robinson was their coach, what was he like?
I like John. John was a guy that knew how to run the football, was a player's coach, knew how to talk to the players, and he was a really good coach. And John recruited me to come to SC. And when they drafted me, I won't forget when he walked up to me, he said, "I finally got you." So I'm over at the airport, so.
Was there any temptation to go to Southern Cal?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, a little bit to go to Southern Cal. But at the time, Southern Cal was so far. I mean, I'm from Texas, born and raised in Texas boy. Small town, and Southern California was a long ways away. I took my first official visit to SC, but I didn't end up going there.
Because SC was known for their running backs. You had the Heisman Trophy winners, and you had O.J. Simpson and Ricky Bell there.
Right.
I mean, they always were known for their running backs.
Right. Charles White was there. I think Charles White won the Heisman that year that I went on the visit.
So you tell
How did
yourself,
Texas?
if Charles White could win it, you could win it, right?
I guess.
How did Texas not go after you hard? I mean, because they had you've been following Earl Campbell there.
Man, I wasn't a Texas fan. I mean, Texas is too arrogant for me. I still don't like University of Texas to this day.
How young were you when people realized that you're going to be a really good football player?
I think I was in the 9th grade, and a guy said to me that, I won't forget, he said, one of the best athletes we've ever seen in these parts in the last 25 years. And, I didn't even get it. I'm like, really? And he said, yeah. He said, you can really do things. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And, so when I started at an early age of playing sports, played football and then track, 7th grade on.
I remember that season when you got 2,100 yards. You were just unstoppable. Every time you touched the ball, it seemed like 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards. How good was that offensive line, or was it all you?
No, man, come on. It's never all you as a back. You know, you got to have the help up front. You know, we had a great offensive line: Jackie Slater, Kent Hill, Dennis Harris, Doug Smith, David Gill. We had a lot of great guys on that line. Bill Baines. I mean, we had an outstanding offensive line.
You never saw the Bears line in the mid-'70s that Peyton ran behind. That was all Peyton. Those guys weren't in a great line.
Well, I mean, you know, no matter how a back, how it works out, you know, the back has to have help up. Sometimes lines are worse than others, but you know, even when Walter played, I mean, yes, he had some good lines at times. It's not great. I mean, I think that we had an exceptional offensive line at the Rams at that time. And we had a coach that knew how to run the football. You know, all kind of schemes to put, you know, the back, which was me and other guys in good situations.
Now, going into that draft, did you expect to be taken by Los Angeles?
Yes. I mean, I knew they were trying to get me, and they made a trade. I think the trade took place with Houston and Seattle. Mm-hmm. The trade took place, and because they called me the night before and told me that I had a ticket at the airport and, you know, catch the flight out to LA. They were going to draft me the next morning, and I actually heard that I got drafted. I was on my way to the airport. I was in the car when I heard I got drafted.
When you had those 2,100 and change yards that year, what was it like running the ball? Did you feel like anytime you touched the ball, you could break it?
Well, I mean, especially when I was younger, I always felt like that. I felt like anytime I got my hands on the ball, that I had a chance to take it all away. I mean, that's what I was. I was a long run hitter, a home run hitter. You know, for baseball and football is different. I mean, I always looked for the long run. I didn't look for the 5 and 6 yards because, you know, I had the speed to outrun most guys.
As you went to training camp, you realized the expectations were pretty high on you. Did you have any idea you'd be handling the ball as much as you did as a rookie? Because you're in
no, not at all. When I first got there, our offense was set up as we had a 2-back set, and we played the Redskins in the preseason. And I won't forget, they beat us like to death, and that's, I think, the second preseason game. And we came back the next day, and John Robinson, he said, forget everything you learned, we're going to go to the 1-back set, like the Redskins. And he said, Eric, you knew my back. And that's when I started, you know, kind of got a chance to start.
How did the goggles come about? How did you end up wearing those and not going with contact?
See, I was blind, couldn't see. I had to wear glasses. I mean, that's where the goggles came from. I mean, I still wear glasses to this day. And without the goggles, I mean, I couldn't have did anything.
Because, I mean, running backs are known for their vision, being able to see everything, what's going on. How did you compensate for the eye issue?
That's not always true. They think that's true. You know, in fact, it goes by feel a lot of times, too. Stuff happens in a flash, you know, real fast out there. So, you know, everything is not done just by vision. I mean, you know, that's just not always true.
Now, you were also drafted by another Los Angeles team, but they were the Los Angeles Express of the USFL. Any temptation to go to that league?
No, not really. I mean, I won't forget my mother. When I got drafted, I asked her, and my grandmother, I said, you know, which one you think I should go to? And I won't forget her reply. She said, which one's been around longer? I said, the NFL. She said, that's where you should go.
She was a wise woman.
Yep, very wise.
Did she serve as
your agent?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Did she serve as your agent?
No. She wasn't no agent. No. She was just a wise lady.
When you played in that playoff game against the Bears in 86, it had to be the coldest game, I think, in NFL history. What was that like?
Very cold, very physical. It was a tough day for us out there that day.
Were there any particular teams that you could look at and say, okay, I'm going to get 150 yards today?
Yeah, it was a few teams like that. I mean, teams that I always played well against, and that was the St. Louis Cardinals and what other team? San Francisco. I always played well against the 49ers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If I could play against those teams every week, I would.
Did you have a preference for the type of field you like to play on, grass versus AstroTurf?
I drive. You can drive now. Say that again.
Did you have a preference for what kind of field you like to play on, grass versus AstroTurf?
I didn't really care. I didn't really care. It didn't bother me. I mean, you know, grass or turf, it didn't make a difference to me. I mean, I'd run on either one, grass or turf. I think at that time that the turf fields were not great. They were faster, make you feel faster. But you know, I enjoy playing on grass, you know, and turf. But it was good to have a mix. But I think if I had my preference to play on one or the other for the full season, I'd take grass, like most players, natural grass.
Yeah, the turf wasn't the field turf they have today. It was like basically painted concrete almost.
It was bad. Some of it was painted concrete. I mean, I played on some fields like that. The fields in New England at the time was a terrible field. Astrodome had a bad field. A lot of fields were not really good fields.
When the Rams traded you to the Indianapolis Colts, what went through your head?
You know, I mean, it was business. I mean, I didn't want to go. I mean, I didn't want to leave LA. But for the money, I mean, I had to leave. I mean, I felt like I was getting underpaid at the Rams for sure. You know, I was only making about $250,000, and a lot of guys making triple my salary, and they wasn't even, you know, playing up to my expectations. And you know, I went to the Colts. You know, they paid me over $1 million, and that's all I wanted for the Rams.
Who were you negotiating with the Rams? Was it Friday Area, the owner, or was it the GM?
It was John Shaw at that time. John Shaw was general manager. That's just the guy that you negotiated with.
What was their side of the argument? They had, you know, they have a premier running back, and they don't want to pay. Say that again.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said in the beginning.
Yeah. What was the Rams' argument for not paying you? It doesn't make sense to most people.
That's how they did it. I mean, the Rams were, at that time, were big. A lot of teams, not just the Rams, a lot of teams were big on, to me, messing over players. I mean, underpaying them, and they, you know, they thought it was like a game, and it wasn't a game to us. I mean, and you know, that's how they could do you. I mean, they really could. There's no free agency. You couldn't go anywhere. You know, you just kind of stuck, and you take it or leave it. And that's kind of their motto. And you know, when I got out of there, I mean, I know there's a couple of teams that wanted me. One was the Redskins. When I left there, I really wanted to go there because my cousin played for the Redskins, and he was the one who called me and told me that the Redskins were after me. But I knew the Rams weren't going to let that happen. Not the NFC. They were going to let that go down, and they did.
Running backs have to have a huge season. A lot of times have a letdown because of the wear and tear of that season, carrying the ball that many times. Did you go through that after that 2,100 yards?
No, not really. No, I was young. I mean, I was only 23 years old, so no, I didn't get beat up too bad. You know, those first couple of years. I mean, first 2 seasons, but you know, it comes as, you know, as your career goes on. But no, I was pretty healthy.
So with the Colts, you get to play for Ron Meyer as a pro.
Yep. My old coach, you know, I enjoyed playing for Ron. Ron's a good friend of mine. Ron took care of me in college, took care of me in the pros, and just a good man. You know, I can say I really love Ron because, I mean, he treated me just like he said when he recruited me coming out of high school. He told my mother I treated him like he's my own son, and he kept his word to her.
What was your favorite moment in the NFL?
Man, I had so many. I mean, when I got drafted, that was one of my favorite moments for sure. The draft day, the year when I went over 2,000 yards. Another, you know, favorite moment when I made my first Pro Bowl. I was really excited about that. You know, you just have so many moments. I mean, I can't say my favorite. I never had a chance to play in a Super Bowl. I mean, but you know, I just had so many great memories and moments in the league.
Was playing on Monday night something special?
Playing on Monday night was special for every guy. I mean, at that time, every player would look forward to playing on Monday night. When the schedule came out, you wanted to see how many Monday night games you had because, it wasn't all these other stations going on. ESPN 1, 2, and, NBC got a game, and ABC got a game, CBS. Wasn't like that. It was like Monday night was it. It's Monday Night Football, and all your peers get a chance to watch you play. And then the whole world got a chance to watch you play that one game. And so most definitely playing on Monday night was a very special night for all players back in those days. Now I think know the players take it for granted.
I thought for sure you were going to break Walter Payton's rushing record by the time you retired. Did you feel that also?
Man, I think, if the situation would have presented itself, maybe if I'd have stayed with the Rams the whole time, which, it just didn't work out like that. Of course, I think I would have broken it. Even Walter said it to me. We were doing an episode of Coach, him and Lawrence Taylor. And he said to me, Eric, I want to thank you for something. I said, what? I want to thank you for getting traded. And we laughed about it. He said, man, you broke all the records. And I said, hey, Walter, you know how it is. I know how this league is. But, I thought I had a chance at it. But, honestly, when I played, I didn't think about that kind of stuff. I just like playing football. That was it. I enjoyed the sport. And I played it. And, it comes a point where you figure out the business, what makes the ugly side of it. But it is what it is.
Now, you and Leroy Irvin formed a bond fairly early on. How did that come about with the Rams?
I mean, Leroy, he was just a nice guy from Georgia. I'm from a small town in Texas. He was from Augusta, Georgia. And, we just kind of hit it off, and me and Leroy are still really good friends today. We're in business together. Just a genuinely nice guy, and, football has a tendency to change all of us a little bit, along the way, but, Leroy always remained the same, and I always tried to remain the same, and, we just remained friends.
I was talking to Richard Dent one night with Jim McMahon, and they were rating the best running backs of all time. They basically said the top 5 are Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson, O.J. Simpson, and Gale Sayers. How would you rank the top guys?
Man, it depends on who you like. I mean, most definitely I got to put O.J. and Jim Brown in there for sure. Barry Sanders has got to be in there. Walter has to be in there. It just depends on who you like. That's what it comes down to. For my money, I don't care. They can put all those other guys, Jim, and for me, I was an O.J. guy, and everybody has their era. I was, a couple of months ago, I was at a golf event, which I'm at right now. I'm at the running in a minute, guys. And a guy said, oh, you got some Jordans on. As a little kid said, so you know who Michael Jordan is? A little kid said, no, I don't know who Michael Jordan is. I just thought it was so funny because the little kid had no idea who Michael Jordan is. He said, you know who LeBron James is? Yes, I know who LeBron James is. So it just goes to show you how the eras are. If they don't know you in that era, if they don't keep up with you, if you're not their guy, kids kind of, you don't know. And for me, I was an O.J. Simpson guy.
Do you think anyone's going to break your record? First yards in the season?
Somebody break it one day. I hope it lasts for another 25, 30 years. Maybe I'll be dead and gone by then. I can't say anything about it. I have a little son. He's 1.5. Maybe he'll come along and break it, play football and break my record. But you want your records to last as long as you can. There's nothing selfish about that. It's just I'm honest about it. I'm a guy to be close is great. But honestly, no guy wants their records broke. I don't care if you have a jump rope record in high school. You don't want your record broke.
Now, in 1999, your first year of eligibility, you voted into the Hall of Fame. A lot of guys have to wait forever for that to occur. Were you expecting to go into Canton that soon?
I didn't know. I figured I had the numbers. That's to me, that's what it should be about, is the numbers. Even going back to that, the funny thing, I didn't know what the Hall of Fame was my first 2 years. I won't forget, I was in my second year after burning over 2,000 yards. I'm at the Pro Bowl, Ricky Jackson. And I'm just going to go back now, to the Hall of Fame. Ricky Jackson was out there talking. We were talking. He said, you're going to go in the Hall of Fame. You keep playing like you're playing. And I'm waiting for him to kind of elaborate what the Hall of Fame is, because I didn't know what it was. So finally he stopped talking. I said, Rick, I got a question to ask you. He said, yeah. I said, what's the Hall of Fame? He said, Eric, I don't know what the Hall of Fame is. I said, I have no idea. So he went to explain it to me. I'm like, oh, okay, because I didn't know. And most definitely, you know, when the moment came and, you know, and I was, you know, chosen to go in, that was a proud moment for me because it kind of solidifies your career as a player. I mean, it says that you were one of the greatest that ever played that position. And, you know, I always wanted to be a great player, no matter what I did. When I ran track, football, baseball, I wanted to be great at it. I didn't want to be good. I wanted to be great. And, you know, I thank God for my talent because, you know, that's where talent came from, was from God. And, you know, I just did what he gave me, the talent he gave me. I worked with it.
I would have loved to have seen a race between you and Bo Jackson in your prime to see who was faster.
I don't know. I mean, that got to be a good race. I was fast back in those days. You know, I think, you know, so many fast guys. I mean, when I came through, with so many guys were fast. Darryl Green was a guy I used to work out with. I could not run down, but, you know, he was fast. I mean, you had the later Dion came, he was fast. I mean, it's just so many guys that were fast. Bo was fast. I mean, just a numerous amount of guys that had top speed. Herschel Walker was another guy that was really fast. And you know, one thing about being fast is it's something that you can't coach, you can't teach. You have it or you don't have it.
Yeah, but to be successful as a running back, there's more than just speed involved in all that. You know?
Oh, most definitely. To play that position, you just can't just be fast. I mean, you gotta know your position. You know, you gotta work with what you have. You have to know how to, you know, slow it down, speed it up. You know, when the right time to hit it. I mean, the greatest thing is for a back is to when you get in the open field. And I was never back. I didn't look over my shoulder. I didn't look back. I mean, hey, if you catch me, you catch me. But I didn't believe in looking back. When I was in high school, a coach told me, because I think not junior high, I would look back, you know, and he said, hey, don't look back. The goal line's, you know, that way. And so I never looked back again after that.
What was the toughest defense you played against?
I can't hear you.
The toughest defense you ever played against?
The toughest defense?
Yes.
Toughest defense. For me, it would be the New England Patriots. You know, they always gave me fits. I mean, I think people would think it's the Chicago Bears, but it was the New England Patriots. I mean, year in and year out. I don't care if it was with the Rams, if I was with the Colts, the New England Patriots, they always, you know, they just seemed to give me fits. I mean, all the time. I mean, that one day that we played the Bears in the NFC Championship game, they were tough defense that day, but on the average, I always played well against the Bears. You know, we didn't fear them, and we played well against them. But as far as through my career, the team that gave me the blues would have to be the New England Patriots.
Was it because Ron Meyer was their coach for part of that time?
No, it was just you know, the way they played me, and I asked the guy that I asked the guys, you know, why they played me so tough, and he told me, sir, he said, we played you. He said, we called it Dickerson week. He said, man, you wasn't gonna get 100 yards on us. If you did, it's gonna be a tough 100, and it was. It was always a tough 110, 105, 120 yards, and that was very true. Ed Reynolds, he's a linebacker, played for the Patriots, and he was the one who told me that. Boy, they made it tough on me.
How did you choose number 29 as your uniform number?
Well, I wore 19 in college. I was number 19 in college, and I got drafted. I came out on draft day to L.A. And my draft number, I chose 25. That was my number that I was going to play under. And so and then the reason I chose the number was they had 32, 34, 29, like 45, 25. And you couldn't wear 19 as a running back. And so I just took 25. You know, if you look at it when I got drafted, I'm holding that number up. And when I got back to Dallas that night, my best friend said, well, so what number did you choose? I chose 25. He said, why'd you take 25? That's an ugly, slow number. So, man, I said, I don't know. I told him the number that they had. He said, why don't you take 29? You could take 19. I said, no. Why don't you take 29? I'm like, okay. So I called back the next day and talked to Mr. Hewitt. And I said, Mr. Hewitt, I want to switch my number. He was an equipment guy. He said, well, Eric got you in the paper, it's 25. I don't think we can change that number. And I paused. I said, well, if y'all don't change it, I'm not coming. So he said, well, I think we can change that number. So that's how I became 29.
So your goggles in the Hall of Fame along with the shoes when you got the 2,100 yards?
Yeah, the goggles and stuff in the Hall of Fame. At least a pair of them. I have some of them, but there's a pair of them there for sure.